Am I the pooter tutor for refusing to marry my fiancé? Quick reminder, the story is not about me. Also, this is a follower submission, and you can submit your own AITA story or whatever kind of story at reddit-sedit.com. I, 32 female, have known my fiancé, 31 male, since we were 12 years old. We met in 6th grade homeroom. Our mom chaperoned our first date at the local library where we did homework together. Oh, that's a sweet first date. Look at you, being productive as small children on a date. Couple of bookworms nestled up together. We dated off and on throughout high school, and we were typical teenagers who didn't know what the hell we were doing. One week we were in love, and the next we hated each other's guts. I moved away for 4 years while I was in college, and he went to a local college. We were in touch off and on while I was away, and he even came out to visit me multiple times. I ended up moving back home 7 years ago, and we agreed that we would give our relationship one last hurrah, and if it didn't work, we would get off the merry-go-round. 7 years later, and things have gone quite well. We bought and then sold our first house together. We have bought vehicles together, we rescued 2 dogs together, and we refer to them as our son and daughter. We manage our household well, and I think we make a very good team. Despite all of this, I do not want to get married. Ever. Period. I don't care who it is. No thanks. I also do not ever want to have kids. I have gone so far as to have an elective sterilization surgery. This surgery happened only a few years ago, so my fiancé is well aware and supportive. The marriage part is the hard part. He proposed to me 2 years ago, and it was beautiful. Absolutely perfect in every way. And he even got the proposal on video. But the beautiful proposal video is really just 2 minutes of me saying, are you serious? What? Etc. I finally caved and said yes, mostly because I didn't want to be an asshole and say no in a crowded public place. Later, I pulled him aside and we talked. I told him I didn't want to get married, but I would be fine with being engaged for the rest of our lives if it made him feel better. The talk went well, and although I don't remember exactly what was said, I know he was not mad. Well, it's been a few years, and although my fiancé has not been pressuring me to get married, his mom, throw them red flags, and his sister have periodically asked questions, and I have always stood my ground. I don't know if his mom or sister are doing it on his behalf or not. I don't think they are, mostly because it's not a frequent topic of conversation. I recently asked my fiancé if he's still okay with us never getting married, and he said he doesn't understand what the big deal is. It sounds to me like he wants to get married, but he's not openly pushing the issue and does not ever bring it up. I know it would save us money on taxes and health insurance, but that's a really crappy reason to get married. Yes, I love him dearly, and I would go to the end of the earth for him, but I still don't want to get married. Some background on me: my parents are 2 people who should have never gotten married, let alone have kids. My dad is best described as a chauvinist pig, and my mom is a raging feminist. Oh, that sounds like a mixture made in heaven. It's like mixing a tornado with a volcano and expecting a lovely sunny day. In public, picture perfect couple. Behind closed doors, they fought constantly, screaming, throwing stuff, threatening divorce, daily, cussing each other out in front of us, even when we were small, etc. I remember at 8 or 9 years old, maybe, I hid my mom's car keys and begged her to not leave after they had a bad fight. They were never physically aggressive with us, but watching that example of marriage every day has taken quite a toll on all of us. My parents stayed together for the children. According to them, reality is they stayed together because neither one of them wanted to give up the luxury financial lifestyle they had by combining their incomes. I am mature enough to understand that this is why I don't want to get married. I also don't want to get married for a lot of other reasons too. I honestly believe marriage is just another patriarchal institution, and I am a big fan of the patriarchy. I don't conform to the idea that you have to be married and have kids to be a successful adult. You don't have to marry someone to prove you love them. But living through the hell of my parents' marriage is a major driving force behind it all. Nothing against my fiancé, but I don't ever want to be in the situation like my parents were. I made a promise to myself as a little girl that I would never fall into the social trap of marriage. And I know I'm not my parents. I have mentioned this with a therapist before. It's a hill I will die on. A line in the sand I will not cross. I do not want to hurt my fiancé. However, to be fair, he has known exactly how I felt about marriage ever since the day we got back together, before we bought our house. I reminded him of all my boundaries regarding marriage and kids. I asked him not to commit to buying a house with me if this was a problem for him. So we are now approaching almost a decade together, and I just want to know, am I the asshole? No. Everyone's allowed to have their preferences, right? And you openly, clearly communicated yours. I think that's the best you can do in that situation, right? And if you had not clearly communicated them ahead of time and all of this had been a surprise, then maybe, but even then, it's, you're allowed to have your feelings on these kinds of things. You're allowed to have your preferences. The big thing here is that you did clearly communicate them and he knew them. It's odd that he proposed, right? I wonder if that pressure came from his parents or something like that, because knowing what he knows to still propose was a bit disrespectful, wasn't it? I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to translate that. It may have been parent pressure. That's the only thing that makes sense here. But if he's perfectly happy with you being engaged forever, and so are you, then great. As long as you both are happy, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I think that's all there is to that. You do you, and clearly communicate it, and you're doing all of these things. So no, you are not the asshole. And I wish you a lifetime of never married happiness. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't see any ascon scale activity here, but if you do, let me know. Of course, I don't expect anyone to agree with me. Like OP has beliefs that are shaped on her past experiences in life, my viewpoint is based on mine, and I do not expect anyone to agree with me, so please know whenever I give feedback on a story, I'm simply offering an observation, and if I give a recommendation or advice, it's just from my point of view. That's all that I'm offering. I'm offering feedback. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or indifferent, whatever. Everyone is going to have a different viewpoint because everyone has lived a different life. So if you don't agree with me, that's 100% okay. I don't expect you to. We can still be friends. You can still enjoy the content and I can keep doing this. So let's all agree to disagree when we disagree and be adults.